What's good, beautiful people? Thank you for stopping in and checking out my new tutorial. I haven't seen a lot of tapestry tutorials on here, so I figured it's about time to throw one up. We're going to need a couple things for this particular design. It's going to be my Psychedelic Shibori. I call it my Serenity Kaleidoscope design. And it's just my take on a 30-degree Shibori fold. And what you're going to need is you're going to need your string to tie your tapestry up. This is B55 bowstring, and I'll leave the link for this in the description. I also want to remind everybody to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like button. It is appreciated more than you can ever know. Being that I'm just starting out, it's very helpful. And will keep me inspired to make more videos. So the next thing you'll need is going to be clips, and I just use hair clips here. They kind of work the best for me. I'm sure there's other things that you guys can use, but and those are found on Amazon or any beauty supply store, I'm sure. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to want to, and for this design, I like the material to be a little longer than wider. It just typically looks the best in my opinion, but and probably a little easier to execute. So I'm going to start at the bottom. I typically start at the top, but because of filming purposes, I guess it don't really matter, but anyways, it doesn't matter which side you start from, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to pleat this and fold it in a bunch of different ways, and then we're going to go ahead and fold it into where we can put a 30-degree Shibori fold on it. And that's another tool that you'll need. I don't have a 30-degree triangle. Someone ganked it on me last time they were at my house. But I got a 60-degree. This is what it's going to look like, and or it's going to look a little different shaped. But I understand where that fold is because I've done it so many times. So get yourself a triangle, and yeah, that's all. So the first fold I'm going to do is from the bottom, and I'm going to fold it up and then back. And again, these aren't folds that you have to do. I'm just giving you guys examples. The design will figure itself out on its own, but it doesn't have to be exact. It's very intuitive. Just let go, try different things, and see what happens. These tutorials I'm making are so that you guys can explore your energy and your creativity. These are just guides. These are not exact replica things. So I'm excited to see everyone's designs that they come up with from this. So now that I got a couple folds in there, I'm going to take it from here. And again, doesn't need to be exact, but I'm going to pull it back. So about there. And as you're doing these pleats, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you kind of want to make sure these are as straight as possible. So these both folds, I have this little gap, and I'm making sure it's pretty level. See, I feel like I'm a little off on this one, so I'm just going to manipulate it back a little bit on this side, and now that's a little closer. And again, it don't need to be perfect, but try to use your eye and get it as level as possible to all your other pleats. And so I'm just going to do, let's see. Yeah, so now I want to pleat it this way. So I'll grab it here, pull it forward a little bit, and then back up. And this is why you need the clips, because you have pleats going different ways. And as you're going to be folding the next part up, they will start pulling themselves out of place if you don't have them clipped. And it also helps to have an iron. I took the time and ironed this piece of fabric. That's another, I guess, material you're going to need is a piece of cotton fabric. It could be cotton, it could be rayon, but honestly, this design would be so difficult to do with rayon or anything other than cotton, just because it's a little advanced tapestry here. So, and again, this is all intuitive, so it doesn't need to be any specific way. The next one I'm going to grab and I'm going to bring it towards that last pleat. And again, I'm making sure that I have a level line here, as level as I can get it. And I always recommend having an iron. It just elevates the design. It gets your creases in there. It puts lines or more detail in it, if you ask me. So let me see. Yeah, you guys can see that's level there. All right. So again, let's move it up like this. And if you guys ever have any questions on these tutorials, please leave it in the comment section. And I will be sure to respond. I'm more than happy to help someone through. Sometimes these videos aren't clear, or I try to be as, give as much information without overloading. But if you guys have any specific questions, please leave them in the comment section. And then also, for each tutorial I will be giving that particular piece that I made from the tutorial away to anybody who is subscribed and leaves a comment in the comment section. So make sure you go ahead and leave me a comment there. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. And please share this with your other friends who are into tie-dye or who want to be into tie-dye. So we got that pleat there. And now I'm just going to fold it over once. And voila. Now that is the first section, first kind of part of this. And the next part we're going to do, we got to get these in. We're going to clip it next. And you're going to want to clip it at each pleat or it's going to give you problems when you're doing this folding part of it. All right, so that section's done. The next thing we have to do is get it folded in half. And for this part, I like to use my ruler to help me get there. And the ruler is not absolutely necessary, but it definitely helps. Because it's pleated, you don't have to worry about it going out, but as you're sliding your ruler underneath this here, just be careful you're not snagging up on your pleats. This is a little tricky, but you can kind of pull up like that, and boom, let's see how close I got to the center here. Oh wow, that's pretty dead on. Okay, yeah, sometimes you're gonna have to readjust this, but in this case, it's pretty lined up. So now that we have it in half, now that we have it in half, we're gonna take one of the sides and you have to fold it backwards, and you're just gonna go to this edge here with it. So, oh yeah, use your ruler again, and I can set it down, and then it'll help you fold that a little easier. And then you can just kind of tug on it till it gets to where it needs, and be careful not to tug too hard to pull your pleats out. That's there. I'll grab a couple more clips. Put one right here and right here, because we're going to have to flip it over now. Oh, yeah, see, I got a little too crazy with it, so I'm going to have to readjust it. All right, there you go. Not too bad. But yeah, just be careful there when you're flipping it. be a little more delicate than I just was. All right, and now we know where the line is. We can see it underneath the fabric, so put your ruler there. Lift this section nice and slow. I'm just getting this fabric back lined up where it needs to be, and then we'll be ready for part 3. Hopefully I wasn't in the way too bad there. Oh wait, I kind of want to leave those on, sorry. Alrighty, so now our center of our point, like a center of our fabric is right here. It's in between both these layers here. And so that's where I want my point of my triangle to start. And again, you're going to have your 30-degree angle that I showed in the beginning of the video, but I have done this so often that I know kind of where it is. So that is like the 30-degree angle here. And you can tell because this part is equal to this part. So you can kind of eye it if you haven't gotten a triangle. And again, you want your point right at the center there. And this is kind of where it gets funky, is because you're going to have to flip this over multiple times. And you don't want it to come out of whack. So from there, we're going to take some clips and clip this side down, because as we're folding it, it's going to want to come undone. And we're going to want to clip this side down too, because now all them layers need to be linked up. And we'll be able to take all these out as we come to them as we're folding up here. And so now that we got our triangle here, we're going to grab it and we got to flip this bad boy over. Okay. And now what I like to do is you want to fold it over and you want to line this triangle up. I want to get this clip out of here. Once you fold it over, you'll see the triangle you just put in there, and that corner should come right to here. Yeah, so basically you're like that after you flipped it over. Now you're going to flip it over and you got an equal triangle here. And don't worry if these are coming a little undone, because they're not going to be perfect. And it doesn't really matter that it is. That doesn't seem right though. Yeah, that's better. All right, so now you have that fold in there. You have this triangle. We're going to take some of these clips out. This is going up. And we're going to have to flip it back over again. All right, so after you have that folded along here, you'll flip it over again. And you're always using the edge of your previous triangle. So now here's this side part of the triangle, and it just gets folded over and lined up. And it gets lined up with this edge here and here. And now that's folded. We can take some more of these clips out. And we're going to flip it over again. Boom. And you can see the triangles as you're going in. And this just gets folded on the bottom edge again. just like that. And then this side edge will get lined up with this edge. And next we'll flip it over again. And again, you're just using these edges. You basically line it up with the floor or your table, whatever, and then fold it straight down. Flip it again. And at the end, it gets a little weird because it's not going to be lined up perfect if the fabric isn't perfectly cut so that it works out that way. And most of the time, it's not going to be, and it doesn't need to be. So we still got to flip it, right? And then you're still going to use your bottom edge here. That part will line up, and then you'll have this little extra piece that just gets folded over to the side edge there. So when it's done, it should look something like that. And now we're going to tie this baby up. All right, now we're ready to tie the tapestry up, and please understand there's no rhyme or reason behind this. You can really do it anyway. You can take it right from this particular design and just start tying it up as tight as you can. That's not what I typically do. I like to separate sections, fold them up, and then I'll start tying them off. So I'll show you a couple in regular time, and then I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this section because there's no right or wrong way to do it. At this point, all your pleats and stuff are already in there. And this is going to get a little thick, but during the dyeing process, I'll explain how to overcome a thick fold and still get your saturation done properly. I'm just trying to make some extra folds in there before I tie it off. And again, this is all intuitive information that's just coming out as it comes into me. And that is a wrap. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the rest of the string off, tie it off, and I'll see you at the dye table. All right, guys, we're back ready to dye this thing. And I'm gonna go with a palette that I've really been in love with lately. And I guess I'm gonna do them in order of how much dye I'm gonna use in each color. First color I'm gonna do is amethyst. Second color is hot pink. And next color is wintergreen. These three colors are going to kind of get similar amounts of each, but those are the ones that I'm going to use the most of. And then I will sprinkle in some light blue. It's like a turquoise. And then I got English violet, which is just a darker purple. And I'll probably go in and highlight with some bubblegum pink. And then at the very end, just a little line pop. So those are the colors I'm going to be doing for this. And here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit in the beginning of this video on how to get through these thicker folds. Because if you don't put enough dye down in your first layer, you're going to have saturation issues. You might end up with a lot of white or very little white. Sometimes the white is perfect and it really adds to the design, but if there's too much white there or too much white in one area opposed to the rest of the tapestry, it I don't know, it still could look cool, but it's not what I'm trying to achieve. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And I typically use this to put on dye. They're little droppers, and I get them from Grateful Dyes. I'll leave the link for their site in the description as well. Also want to go ahead and remind everyone, if they haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do so. And also, as you finish these tutorials and you're creating your own stuff, please share them with me, tag me, or send me a message with the final results, because that's really what's going to keep me inspired to keep doing this, is just seeing all the beautiful and magical creations and your interpretations of what you're seeing on these tutorials. So again, I want to thank everyone for rocking with me. I'm going to throw some dye on this thing. And as I was saying, as you're putting your first layer of dye down, and what I mean by that is, like, I'm going to put multiple layers of dye. My first layer of dye is going to go in, and then I'm going to go on top of that layer with other colors that work well with each other. But your first layer, and I'm using these droppers, not really sure exactly how much liquid's in there, but I fill the droppers completely up, and that whole dropper goes into the first layer. And then we'll go back and put the other colors on top of that after that. So if I'm using this amethyst, if I pick a spot, I want to drop this whole dropper into that spot. And you kind of need to go slow at times, because you'll start running the dye down the sides of the shirt, or it'll just spread. All right, so that's one spot that I put in, and that's all amethyst. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start just putting amethyst in random spots, and make sure they're kind of spaced a decent amount apart, because we do have to put some other colors, and we don't want too many big blocks of color together. What's up, beautiful people? In a second here, you'll see that I put my video on pause and I forgot to restart it. So the whole dyeing process wasn't captured, but I just continued to alternate different colors randomly throughout the tapestry and got that whole first layer saturated, covered the entire tapestry. And then once I had my first layer down, I went back in on top of the first layer with other colors that worked well on those colors. After the second layer, I went back in with a third layer and highlighted it with some lime pop and used some black to add shading. All right, guys. Well, apparently I forgot to hit the record button, but it's finished up. My last thing I did was I ended the whole dye with black. It was kind of just spread all over it. Now we're going to go get into the pariah method, and that what happens there is it sets the dye. We use boiling water and soda ash, and also show you pictures of the soda ash I use. All right, we're just about boiled over there. What you're going to need for this section of the tutorial is 1 cup of soda ash, which is this right here, and it's found in the laundry section at your grocery store or probably Target or anything like that. It's also, you can get them off any dye company's website. Next thing you'll need is your shirt, something to mix your boiling water and soda ash in, something to mix that up with, and your boiling water. I have an auto kettle, so it's very quick. I use 800 milliliters of water for this and 1 cup of soda ash. So it's a decent sized tapestry, so I'll probably use 600 mils of that 8, but just for measuring purposes, that's what I measure up. And I might use the whole 8. I'm not really sure yet. It's a big enough piece of fabric. So, and there's also a couple ways to do this. A lot of dyers pre-soak their fabric. I like to use the pariah method, which is what we're doing here. And I just feel the dye, once the soda ash is going in there, it helps reach white sections that might not have dye in them. And it also, I feel like, helps the flow of the piece. It moves dye in different ways that if you're just soaking it, doesn't happen. So from here, we're going to pour the soda ash on. You don't want to soak it, but you do want to make sure it's fully saturated. And I usually give mine just a little squeeze in each section to make sure that there's, it's really in there. So you want to do both sides. So make sure you keep track of what parts you've done. And you typically want a respirator on, like a respirator mask, when you're doing this. I don't have mine on right now because I'm talking to you guys, but I think from now on when I do this, I will just voice over this section and keep my mask on because stuff's pretty gnarly to breathe in. And so that's done, and I can see that it's pretty saturated. I can give it a squeeze and see the water coming up. And it ain't gonna hurt it if you get a little squeeze, actually. I think creates some extra cool stuff. But from there, we'll just Ziploc it up. You'll wait 24 hours, or if you did invest in a dehydrator, at this point, you can put it in a bag and put it in your dehydrator for like 3 hours. And that should heat the whole tapestry up from the inside and out. And at that point, you'll be able to rinse it if you need it done sooner. So. All right, and from this point, we can rinse our shirt. I've already put this under hot water. I'm gonna untie it and then swish it around in a bucket of water, get some of that dye out, and then we're gonna actually hit it with boiling water to make sure we get all the excess dye out. So I'm gonna throw this on fast forward, unwrap this, and throw it in the washer.
Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go.
What's good, beautiful people? I just wanted to jump back down here and express my gratitude for each and every one of you being here. I really appreciate it, and I'm very excited to share more tutorials with you and more knowledge that I've gained. And I'm excited to see everybody's interpretation. I'm excited to see everyone's energy into each piece. And please don't forget to tag me in your results. I love to see everyone's magical creations, and it's what's going to keep me inspired to keep making these. So I love y'all. I'm also going to be giving this piece, this tapestry away at the end of the month to one of you viewers. All you have to do is comment on this video and make sure you're subscribed to my channel. So I love y'all again, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.